Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chandramohan from Sri Samraj Physiotherapy Center, Dindivanam, Tamil Nadu. A warm welcome to principals and vice principals of various colleges and professors and students of physiotherapy and clinical physiotherapists. This is our 10th webinar and 4th in our web series. The topic is physiotherapy for temporomandibular joint dysfunction. Will be taken by Dr. Vincent Jairaj, ortho and sports physiotherapist. He is working as an assistant professor, SRM College of Physiotherapy, Chennai. He has 8 publications and working on 15 papers now. He is a wheelchair assessor and designer from WHO. He received Young Achiever Award at 58th Annual Conference of the Indian Association of Physiotherapists. This webinar is organized by Sri Samraj Physiotherapy Center, Dindivanam, Fitness and Rehab India YouTube channel, exercise testing and prescription website exrxindia.org in association with Dr. Rupesh, Peak Health Studio, Chennai. I also welcome our co-host Professor Duna Saha from PD Women's College, West Bengal. Let us listen to our resource person. Dr. Vincent, please carry on.
Yes, good evening all. Today we are going to see about temporomandibular joint dysfunction. So in that basic interest, what is the basic anatomy and as well as some kind of causes, various factors which affects the temporomandibular joint mobility. And then we are going to see a few manual therapy approaches in order to correct the temporomandibular joint. So I can share the screen now. So already they have given an intro about myself. So I'm Vincent Jairaj. I'm working in SRM College of Physiotherapy. So now directly we'll go for a topic. So temporomandibular joint, actually it is not viewed as isolation. That is, it is not a single joint. If we have pain over the temporomandibular joint, it doesn't reason that the problem is only on the temporomandibular joint. So various factors like cranium, the jaw, cervical spine, and some of the other postural deviation also, it have an impact over this kind of function. So you just see this, why I want to put this neck pain as well as TMJ before the anatomy means we want to know that's a positive or a highly correlated between the neck pain as well as the temporomandibular joint. So if you see in this animated image, see how the temporomandibular joint is moves here. So everyone, now you can just palpate your temporalis muscle. You just place your hand over the temporal bone like this, and just open your mouth and check the deviation you will feel. So I hope everyone will do now. Just place your hand over like this and just open your mouth and close. You can feel a deviation on the head, top of head or sideways. So that is what over 44% of patients, they have a strong correlation between the neck pain as well as the temporomandibular dysfunction. So that is the main reason I have put this image. So next, as I said, several components. These are the several components. First one is a skull. Any problem, any injury over the skull or mandible, maxilla. These are the various bones that will contribute to the temporomandibular joint dysfunction. And come to the oral, that is a teeth. Either any rearrangement of a teeth or some kind of cavitation, that also will result in TMJ dysfunction. If they having the improper cervical spine alignment or some kind of posterior neck muscle problem, especially in the upper trapezius, splenic muscles, these are all the factors that will make the temporomandibular joint also will get affected. So other structures, the vascular, lymphatic, nervous system, and as I mentioned, the muscles. So later on we'll discuss which one of the muscle is responsible for this TMJ problem. So now comes to the anatomy part. So first, the roof of temporomandibular joint is entirely a squamous part of a temporal bone, and it is divided into 4 descriptions. One is the articular tubercle. See the articular tubercle, articular eminence, the disc, articular disc, and the posterior glenoid spine. So these are the important factors which you want to check in case of a temporomandibular joint anatomy. So just check in this visual during the mouth opening. So what happens is the condyles that will rolls and slides anteriorly. See here in this region, it will rolls and slides more anterior way. So the disc also it's like parallel to the condyles. So that is the main reason why the some people they used to have a clicking sound and all right. So this is the main reason that mandible in case of a mandibular depression, the corneal rolls and slides anteriorly to the temporomandibular disc. Again, the temporomandibular disc also slides anteriorly to the maintain the congruence of the surface. So the next thing, the movement, it is facilitated by the gravity. Mostly, it doesn't have only with the soft tissues. Along with the gravity, also this will assist for finer activities. Then come to the lateral movements. The sideways movement, what happens is the lateral extension involves the ipsilateral temporomandibular joint spinning with a contralateral TMJ slide. So one side it will go for a spinning and other side it will slide anteriorly. If this occurs only, they can easily deviate their mouth to the lateral way. And for eating a small items, for example, nowadays we are in a quarantine period, right? So mostly we used to have some kind of junk foods or every 2 hours once we are eating something. So for that, the both protrusion and lateral extension are needed. So if any one thing get affected, we can't eat properly or we can't speak also. So just check this video. So lateral deviations. So how the mouth it deviates and see the condylar and the movement. So I hope it is visible. So these two places. So here if they are doing a lateral rotation or a lateral exertion, the temporomandibular joint movement along with the disc. So mostly the temporomandibular joint, it is a loose back position, might be a slightly opened position. Most of them we used to keep our mouth in open only by speaking or some other activities. And a closed back position is a maximal anterior position of a condyle and maximal opening. So when we are opening fully and some kind of outward or forward deviation is the ligaments are too taut and the condyles it can't move forward or further. So coming to the range of movement, in case of range of movement, the mandibular opening will be the 40 to 50 mm. Okay, so it will be used by measured with the help of a bowling gauge or even in case of a vernier caliper. As a physics, we used to check the vernier caliper also by this kind of gauge. So what happens is the degree of mandibular opening is measured using the distance between the incisional edges of upper and lower anterior teeth. So mostly as a physiotherapist, we won't do this. We need an instant result or instant measurement, right? So we use the sucking image. So 3 fingers. So I think everyone is hearing my voice. So just place your 3 fingers on your mouth. Kindly unmute everyone. Host, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now everyone are going to check with the 3 fingers. Just place the 3 fingers, just like this. Easily it is going or not. Now, if anyone having a problem, 3 fingers, they can raise your voice.
No, sir.
Okay, good. So then you are doing. Okay. So what happened means the patient they can't fix the 3 fingers in their own mouth. So they can't do this. What happened means they're having some kind of reduced joint range of motion. So either that can be measured by using this kind of ruler, or we can measure with the help of our own fingers. So if 4 fingers is going means the TMJ joint is actively braced and it is perfect range of motion. Beyond that, mostly it won't go. So these are the various muscles: the temporalis muscle, masseter, medial pterygoid, lateral pterygoid, and digastric. These are the important muscles which are responsible to maintain the temporomandibular joint function, either it is a mobility or a stability purpose. So just check it. So as I said, see the TMJ, the temporomandibular joint here, but the digastric muscle over, it is not that much connected at all, but it have a role over the temporomandibular joint workout. Same way, just check the temporalis muscle over here and the temporomandibular joint over here. So everything has a mobility, that is because of a bony alignment or because of some kind of myotonia. Just check this muscle. So once opening, how the muscle it will act, and once closing of the mouth, how the muscle is act. Same muscle group only, but different action. Yes. And this is next image. What I'm going to show is quite interesting because the youngsters, they having a very good teeth alignment, no issues. Or mostly the elderly population, they used to saying that I can't open my mouth. I having some kind of restriction. Why the restriction means the justification. See with the teeth, how the temporomandibular joint and the teeth gone. See the entire congruence alignment will. So classically, the joint restriction will be the check here. One more time, I will repeat this. Just with the joint, the alignment, the angle, it will be totally different. And there will be increase in gonial angle. See the orientation. So this is the most important reason why the elderly population, the mobility of a temporomandibular joint will be reduced. In case of young or adult people during accidents or some kind of orofacial surgery, maxillary surgery and all, this kind of angle it will deviate. Again, they're having a risk. Yes. So once the patient is having temporomandibular joint problem, these are the three cardinal signs they used to say. So first, there will be a pain. A tender point will be there in and around the temporomandibular joint. Either it will be movement or without a movement, they're having a constant pain. Second, some kind of clicking sound. Okay. So for example, if they are doing a lateral deviation, some kind of click sound it will be there. And third one, mostly importantly, there will be a restriction of a mouth opening. So these are first is the pain, second is a noise during a movement, and third one is a limited range of motion or a restricted range of motion. So what might be the general reasons behind this means? First one, it will be a gum chewing. Frequently, they used to have a habit of chewing any boomer or like that, or a tobacco usage like that. Some people, they used to have an inflammatory arthritis that will have an impact over the synovium or the disc of a temporomandibular joint, and bruxism, that is usually they used to clench it. If you're having a severe headache, what we should do, we should clench our teeth tightly, so that have an impact over the temporomandibular joint. Second, the most, this is nowadays it's more common, mouth open breathing people. Okay, if they're having obesity, they have a heavy tummy, or they ate too much. Okay, without the conscious level, they used to speak. So they used to breathe through the mouth during the sleep. And smoking is, of course, this have a very bad impact over the disc of a temporomandibular joint, as well as that will create some kind of ulcer to the oral cavity. So once they get the ulcer, ultimately they have a pain, they can't open at all. That will result as a post traumatic or a immobilization phase, and ultimately the poor oral hygiene. So most of the youngsters, how they are using some kind of thing, so that stuff will create this kind of poor hygiene to the oral space. So as a scientific way, these are the two broad classifications for a temporomandibular joint dysfunction. First one, the intra-articular. So what happens is that the internal dearrangement. So internal dearrangement either over the oral cavity, the teeth that will arrange in an irregular way, or there will be a problem over the temporomandibular disc, arthritis, inflammatory condition, and few people they have the hypermobility of a temporomandibular joint. So these are the intra-articular, the inside problem. The outside problem, the extra-articular problem, it is a cervical postural disorders. If the patient is complaining of frequent headache, or if the patient they are having a stiff neck, ultimately they have an impact on the temporomandibular joint. Next, a muscle spasm, either it's a masseter muscle, masticatory muscles, or a temporalis muscle, splenic, all lateral and posterior neck muscles. This will create a problem with the temporomandibular joint. And ultimately the fractures. The fractures will malalign the entire bony congruence, as well as that will create some kind of muscle imbalance. So what are the muscle imbalance that we are going to see? So as I said, there is a strong relationship between the neck pain with the temporomandibular joint. So these are the reasons. What happens is that a neurophysiological influences will take place from a masticatory muscles that will increase the tonic neck reflex. Once this tonic neck reflex increases, ultimately there will be an agonist-antagonist relationship will be altered. So once this altered, ultimately the anteroposterior muscles that will go for a problem. Either it will be a more stiffer one. And what happens is that will create a neck pain. So the neck pain, if a patient is having neck pain, as I said, there will be end up in a clenching of teeth. Severely they used to bite their own teeth. What happens? That will create this kind of imbalance. So this is what, see, already I have shown that animated image. In that, what are the muscles? Like, see here, once the opening, the suprahyoids, hyoid, everything that will move in one direction, and here the lateral pterygoid, how it will act. So once mouth, it will go opposite way. That creates some kind of imbalance of the lateral pterygoid. Lateral pterygoid is the most important muscle in case of the temporomandibular joint. See here in the closing, how it will act. The medial pterygoid, it will go one direction. Again, the lateral pterygoid, everything that will act in their own direction, that will create some kind of mechanical imbalance. So this is some animated thing, how the mechanical imbalance will be there. So all muscles like stick in hanging and doing their own activity. So that will create some kind of mechanical imbalance. Subjective assessment. Also, in case of the subjective assessment, what happens? So first, the history taking is the most important thing in case of temporomandibular joint dysfunction. So what it all means, the incidence of joint locking. You should ask a patient how often this kind of joint locking will be there, and presence of any joint noise will be there. History of surgery or trauma. Mostly the patient they used to they won't say that I had some impact or some kind of trauma over my temporomandibular joint or a posterior neck. Like that, mostly they won't reveal that until or unless we ask them. They used to more concerned about the joint lock and the noise only they used to complain. Then we want to ask clearly onset of the symptoms. When the symptoms arises, so at last you should ask of the medical history whether they are having any kind of neurological issues, any the congenitally, any stenoglutamastoid problem, they have any torticollis dry neck, they have everything as a short neck. We want to ask, or in their family they have any neck issues. Okay, this is plays the most important thing in the medical history. Next, come to the pain assessment. So again, pain, we want to ask this kind of 5 important questions. First one, where is the location? Either the pain having a short type of pain, or they having a lateral neck muscle pain, or in and around the masseter, or in and around the temporalis. This the location plays a vital role. Then intensity. So how the pain it will be? It is a severity we want to ask. Frequency, how frequent it was? Either it is only in the early morning. So early morning means there will be some kind of inflammatory problem might be there. So daytime or during workout. So once they are eating or once they are speaking, they are having a problem means. So repetitive strain injury type of thing it will be there. Time of that also the morning or afternoon. So whatever it may be, we want to ask the time. This time it would reduce whether they are having inflammatory problem or some other issues. Main thing, the activities which reproduce this kind of pain. So these 5 important things we want to ask in case of pain assessment. Parafunctional activities or habits. Yes, in this quarantine time, this plays a vital role. The parafunctional. So what happens means the environment. How often they are going out of their home. That means mostly they will be inside the home. So the physical activity will be less compared to the physical activity. Entire body will be less, but the mouth activity will be more. Then type of job. So type of job also, if a teaching profession, sure, ultimately they want to speak a lot. We want to consider for that. Or any other, so type of a job plays a vital role. Postural stress. So mostly the people they are having computer based work. So the computer based work people they having a postural stress will be there. And ultimately that will result in a psychological. That's more stress they used to acquire. The para functional habits we want to check. Yes, still now any doubts? Anyone having doubts till now? No, right? Okay, then we'll continue. So mobility impairment examination. So we want to check the mobility of a individual patient. How means these are the movements: the vertical opening, lateral excision, this and protrusion. Everything first should be checked in a active way. So how they are doing, and then we want to check with the passive way. So these are the various muscles. Initially, I have said what is the five muscles like a masseter, temporalis, and all. But here, if you check, means the spinous capitis, some occipital muscles, trapezius, sternocleidomastoid, everything it have a impact. So these muscles we want to check. We want to palpate this muscle. Any tender point is there, or any muscle spasm is there. Everything we want to analyze. So palpation of lateral pterygoid muscles. So I hope everyone have palpated this muscle. What happens is just the muscle is palpated by using a little or index finger, placing a lateral to the maxillary tuberosity and a medial to the coronoid process. Just take your right hand, the index finger, and place, and easily can check. Okay, my if it should be checked with more sterile one. If you're using, you want to check with a patient, kindly use a gloves because some kind of infection might be there and it will be unhygienic one. So if you want to do any manipulation to the orally, or if you want to palpate, just kindly use a gloves. So as a palpation, I said. So in case of palpation, they used to have a tenderness. So tenderness mostly over the joint, temporomandibular joint region, as well as the near to the all the maxillar region. Okay, so why the reason means either it will be a capsulitis of a joint, synovitis, or a fracture. So mostly the capsulitis and synovitis are more common. Fracture until unless there is some kind of direct blow. So you want to palpate the muscle enlargements, the muscle bellies, through a flat palpation. You want to check because the muscles are too thin. So there are two types of palpation, either a flat or pincer. So if we go for a flat kind of palpation, either the muscle as well as the mandible bone. So other special tests. So mostly this thing, as a physiotherapist, we are not doing that at all because the speech therapist or the dentist, they used to more concern about this. That especially the swallowing pattern, we are not concerning at all. The speech therapist, they used to concern more on the swallowing pattern, how they are drinking the water or how they are swallowing the liquid items and all. So first one, the oral function. So before oral function, there will be atlantoaxial joint stability you want to check. Just how many CO, C1, C1, C2. These two junctions, we want to check whether the nodding movement occurs properly or not. So almost 60% of TMJ joint, this atlantoaxial joint problem will be there. Next, oral function, that is a hygienic waste or any cavitation is there. Because of cavitation also they are having a referred type of pain. Next, occlusion. So occlusion pattern is nothing but the arrangement of a teeth. So whether it is arranged in a proper way, some kind of the wisdom teeth and all, the pain will be there. Okay, so you have to check the occlusion pattern whether it is arranged properly or not. Swallowing pattern. So once they are drinking, what happens is the entire muscles start to contract and relax. That have impact on the temporomandibular joint. You want to check that. Most as a physiotherapist, you want to check the breathing pattern. So these are the various five special considerations should be there in case of temporomandibular joint assessment. And the radiography. So radiography means as a X-ray, we can't see much because it is very difficult to find out the sclerotic changes in case of X-rays, mostly in the temporomandibular joints. Other kind of joints, long bones, it is very easy and visible. But in case of temporomandibular joint, you want to more concern. What happens is the lateral transcranial films display the anteroposterior contour of a bony alignment, where the transpharyngeal or transorbital X-ray, this will show the condyle or mediolateral condylar, because mostly the condyle alignment problem will be there. So this view, it is easily notable. So other kind of radiographies or tomographs that will shows the joint ankylosing or tumors, and in case of MRI, that is most important to check the integrity of TMJ meniscus. So, as a physiotherapist, mobility part we want to check. So, we want to check mostly the all cervical joint mobility. Then comes to the temporomandibular joint, the mouth opening, mouth closing. Everything is visible or not. We want to analyze. Yes. So till now, what we saw as a general anatomy of a temporomandibular joint and what are the various factors that is responsible for temporomandibular joint dysfunction and what are the muscles are responsible, how the radiographs will be there. So now examination we have checked whether they are having mostly the hypomobility of a temporomandibular joint will be there. So now we are going to see the some corrective techniques. So hypomobile temporomandibular joint, what it will happen? So what happen means the limitation of functional movements will be there. Once the limitation of functional movements there will be ankylosis. So once ankylosis, either it will be a kyphosis one or a bony alignment. So this kind of ankylosis will be there in terms of temporomandibular joint. Then a mastectomy muscles, what it will happen? That will go for a myofascial pain and a spasm. So this muscle goes for a spasm. Mostly it will be affected as a unilateral one. So a single side involvement. So if a single side involvement means that side alone the pain will be there and some kind of restriction be there. But what happens means if a bilateral affected means the lateral mouth opening and the protrusions. These three movements will be severe problem, severe painful and they can't move. But how much ever they open, they can easily close their mouth. So mouth closing is free in this hypomobile joint. As a conservative management, what we used to take this, some people they will go and take a unprescribed medication from a pharmacy. They used to have some kind of ice or hard packs. As a physiotherapy clinic, what they used to see in the room is some kind of ultrasound over the temporomandibular joint and the muscles where the spasm or some kind of problem is. They should work. As a manual therapist, we want to consider most important thing. Just check in this animation. See the temporomandibular joint here. So once it's coming, as I mentioned earlier, the disc also it moves anteriorly. So the first joint mobilization procedure. First one is that it is combined with a three technique. Intraoral distraction. What happens means the therapist, the manual therapist who's going to mobilize the temporomandibular joint, they want to take the thumb and position to apply distraction force. That is, they want to take the thumb and place the over the downside. That is the distal aspect of the teeth. Then they want to distract. So they want to pull outwards. So the intraoral distraction, first point. Second, there will be a lateral glide. So here, check they are doing some kind of problem. Or the problem arises on the left side of the face. Okay, so therapist comes position to apply a lateral glide. Next one is the intraoral translation. So what happens is again the index finger and third fingers are positioned to apply the translation. So first one they want to pull up forward. Second some kind of deviation like this. Third one and anteroposterior like this. They want to give a distraction, some kind of translatory force. Next one is the active protrusion and lateral exertion. What happens means it's a kind of isometric exercises. So as actively the patient can do this. The patient places a tongue blade or some kind of even they can use a handkerchief as they rolled and placed over in between the tooth. So the patient places a tongue blades between the teeth to allow approximately 10 to 11 mm of opening. And then the patient is asked to protrude, so that is they want to open the mouth. Also, they want to do a forward activity. So this it will increase the translation. So again, see the patient places a tongue blades between the teeth to allow for approximately 10 to 11 mm of opening. The patient is then asked to protrude the mandible at this opening to improve the translation. And so what happened means the patient may also instructed to protrude and glide. So they want to do a glide. And so till now, any doubt, anything you want to ask, you can ask until we can resume. Yeah, just that's what the exercise slide we are going to discuss further. So once the all manual approaches I finished, I can see the I can show the active exercise portion. How can we able to understand or listen a sounds produced by the engine during the it's like a pop sound like that the pop sound we can easily fetch the slippage. Okay, the mostly the patient they used to feel and even an examiner we can feel that sound. It's like a pop sound. What treatment can be done for old age people whose mouth opening is restricted? That's what we want to check the alignment of the teeth. Okay, whether very less teeth is there, we can give some kind of artificial teeth. That's the main thing. Then we can gently mobilize. We can't do a vigorous mobilization for elderly population. For them, the active kind of exercises we can teach for them. If there are locking sounds of lost teeth, if there, how can we treat that with a diabetic medical history? Say, if diabetic medical history is there means for a mouth, it doesn't have that much impact. But the mobility purpose, you want to teach regularly that they want to perform active exercises. How does the bracing affect the temporomandibular joint? Yes, of course, the bracing that will affect the temporomandibular joint function. But what for what purpose they are using that bracing? That place matters because some people for just a cosmetic purpose they use bracing. Some they use bracing in order to some the alignment place. Okay, so what happened that for the later stage I'm going to discuss about the how the braces that will impact over the tinnitus as well as the temporomandibular joint. I will say that. So the active exercise. Someone asked about the active exercise. How we can do this? That's what we want to place some 10 to 10 mm or 10 to 15 mm of object, or either it is a rolled towel or a rolled handkerchief. Place it in between the teeth and ask them to bite. Okay, so once bite, there's some kind of opening over the temporomandibular joint. Also, then further progression is uh, they should do a protrusion movement, a forward motion that will increase the translation. So once a translation occurs, there will be a very good mobility over the temporomandibular joint. If the patient may also be instructed to protrude and glide mandible on one side to improve the translation. That is, so with the help of biting, they do the lateral movements. So any participants can do that lateral movement, and active voluntary people just demo how to do a lateral movement. Anyone? Just a little bit open your mouth and do the lateral movements. That's fantastic. So, like this, free exercise they can do, but with the help of this kind of a distance or separation, that will give a good translation of the temporomandibular joints. Yes, thank you, Amit sir. And next one is a active passive mandibular exercises. So this again, it will give a very good impact to the patient actively. What means just thumb and index finger. It should be crossed. The thumb should be placed on the upper teeth and the index finger over the lower teeth. So they place like this and this and some kind of gliding the translating on the zigzag. Okay, like this they want to do this. Please, like a glide mobilization. We used to do a gliding glide. So same way they want to do this kind of movement over the upward and downward thing. So this will even increase a very good improvement in case of temporomandibular joint range of motion. And most of the clinical therapists or most of the temporomandibular joint experts, they used to consider this post isometric relaxation techniques. So how means the patient sits on a table, That means the hand should be perfectly relaxed with placing. They want to keep the one head on his or her forehead. The fingers of the other hand on the maxillary teeth. After taking up the slack of movement opening and the patient breathes out. So what happens? Simple. Just place. No. So just place like this hand and one other hand or like this. So after taking the slack of a mouth opening, the patient breathes out. So once the breathes out, what happens means there will be some kind of gravity assistance. The gravity that will pull the temporomandibular joint downwards. So during inhalation, he or she open the mouth as wide as possible. Next, the hand on the forehead should prevent flexion, which would interfere with the maximal opening. So this thing. So first, what to place a hand over the forehead, that will give some kind of resistance. Then another hand, they used to use the fingers or the temporomandibular, the lower maxillary region, and then they want to slowly drag down and do exhalation. So they want to breathe out. So once they breathe out, what happens is there are some kind of sliding that will occur. This will create a very good impact over the temporomandibular joint mobility. Next one is a post-isometric relaxation self. Okay, so what happens is the lateral trapezoid is the most important muscle in case of a temporomandibular dysfunction we are seeing. So patient should be in a supine lying with the mouth slightly open. They want to place both the thumb on the mandible. So they want to place a thumb in this way, mandible, okay, and then press the chin forward against his thumb. So they want to make the chin to go upward and give a minimal resistance with the help of a thumb. This the patient holds his or her breath and then breathes out. So what happens? Everything is an isometric exercise that will have a very good impact over the muscles are responsible for a temporomandibular joint as well as the joint congruence. And this one, functional kinematic exercises during the proximal lever. So what happens is here they are concentrating along with the cervical joint mobility as well as the temporomandibular joint mobility. So first, once if you are going neck extension, ultimately there will be an opening of a mouth. So the passive and active insufficiency, as we have read in the biomechanics, what happens is once we are going backward, ultimately some kind of opening of a mouth will be there. So they are increasing oscillatory movement for us. So the nodding we are seeing right as CO, C1 and C1, C2, that will increase here. And then they want to do a flexion activities in order to close their mouth. So first extension, active opening of a mouth will be there. Once flexion occurs, there will be a closing of a mouth will be there. And opposite the translation. The one side head it will go if we want to mobilize this patient the left side means the head will go to same side and the temporomandibular that lower maxillary the jaw that will go opposite side. Same way, ulta way here we want to do. So first one opening and closing of a mouth with flexion and extension. Second there will be a head on one side and a chin on the other side. So both sides we want to do a translation. At last we want to do with the help of closing the chin that should come towards the chest and close the mouth and do the flexion and extension. So the sixth way we want to do in a schematic aspect. So these are the various joint mobilization technique in order for increase the hypermobile joint. So once the joint congruence is less and the mobility is less, we use this kind of mobilization techniques. And here, the most of the patient, they're having a temporomandibular joint. If you check, they're having a tinnitus. There is a high correlation between the temporomandibular joint dysfunction as well as the tinnitus. Even I have seen a few people who's having the tinnitus issues. So what happens that then I have concentrated to release those people's check in this article. Again they said about the myofascial origin. If you see here, the tinnitus of myofascial origin can be caused at trigger points in the metatarsal muscle, sternocleidomastoid muscle. So this have a very good link in the myotome. So the masseter, sternocleidomastoid, and sometimes there is a upper trapezius. These three muscles, if you release, means I think immediately we can show the difference in the tinnitus. The ringing sound it will reduce, at least for a temporary cause. Okay, so again, the clenching or dental grinding or bruxism. Okay, continuously they are doing this. This will give a pressure over this masseter and sternocleidomastoid. So that is the main reason why the people they're having a temporomandibular joint issue, they're having a tinnitus also. One young girl, okay, so around the age of 21, she frequently complains of tinnitus issues. So what happened? Most of the time I used to release the posterior neck muscles as well as the lateral muscles, and it will get subside. But again, 2 or 3 days, the problem it will be there. Problem it won't be there. Again, after a week, again she develops some kind of this tinnitus issue. Then we observed and checked what is the main reason is there is a problem on the temporomandibular joint as well as the affection pattern of the teeth. So she went and addressed to the dentist and they given a braces. There's some kind of reduction in case of the tinnitus. So now we are concentrating the individual person with entire cervical mobility as well as the posterior neck muscles along with the TMJ mobilization. It shows a very drastic changes. So we want to clearly note if the patient is having temporomandibular joint, kindly address the cervical posture, kindly address all muscle whether it is flexible or not, or kindly address these muscles to be released. So the head and neck, upper, see here the head, neck, upper shoulder muscular imbalance that will ultimately give us this kind of problems. So I think we come to the end of the session. So hope this will be informative. Now you can ask your questions.
I think earlier session there was a question.
Yes.
Can you explain about clicking sound? Asked by Vishaka Swapnil.
Okay. So clicking sound, that's what I mentioned in anatomical part. What happened means during the mouth opening, there will be anterior translation of that condyle. Along with the condyle, there will be a disc also it will move anterior. So frequently we are giving mouth to mouth work, either the biting or we are speaking. Or some people they used to be in holding a phone like this and speak. What happens? They're creating a compression over that particular side temporomandibular joint. If you check address means most of the patients they are having a right side temporomandibular joint problem. The clicking sound will be there. So if you want to correct that, ultimately first clearly assess the cervical region, whether the cervical movement is there or not properly. Breathing pattern, of course, they're having abnormal breathing pattern check because once breathing also they're having some kind of pain. And if you clearly address means the mouth, it will be a little bit deviated to one side. So do for that we used to do an intraoral mobilization. How means mostly that it will reflect on a medial translation. Just place a thumb and insert the thumb inside and over the teeth and give some kind of medial glide. That means if you want to correct the right side means place and give a medial side, the inward side of translation. Mostly the 3 to 5 repetition oscillation is enough for 2 times per day. We should not do more time of thing because either we can increase the pain. Because the temporomandibular joint is more sensitive. Yes. Next.
Okay. The next question is: will glossopharyngeal breathing causes TMJ dysfunction as it open mouth breathing?
Not the glossopharyngeal breathing as an exercise we used to give, but the patient they had individual they having that kind of habit. Yes, of course, that will research. Okay. As a treatment wise, we can provide, but the patient having habitual kind of activities, sure they will have that kind of problem.
Okay, from Amit, how does bracing affect TMJ?
Yes, sir. Ultimately, the bracing which will affect initially the TMJ because If they provide a bracing means the dentist, of course, ultimately they used to say at least a week. They should not do a strenuous. That means they should not open a mouth frequently, or they should not eat solid items. They want to have mostly the liquid items. So what happens is we are giving the immobilization phase for the temporomandibular joint, and some people they having some kind of bleeding also. So ultimately that will affect.
Okay.
So if adult age patient is suffering from a recurrent temporomandibular muscle spasm, pterygoid and temporalis, what can be done? So ultimately we want to concentrate the posterior neck muscles first and a gentle active exercise. We should not do a severe kind of mobility exercise. So as I mentioned about the active exercises, the clenching tape with the towel, so that can be advisable.
Okay. The next
So
question
please
is,
explain temporomandibular. Yes.
Can you explain passive mobilization again?
Yes. See, there are two ways. What I say, this 6 image, it is a functional kinetic exercises. Another method was a physiotherapist. What we will do means we want to put the patient in a side lying. Okay, so once the patient is side lying, the affected side should be on the top. Then, with the help of one side thumb, it will be placed inside the intraorally and stabilize the medial aspect of the teeth. Then, from outward with a fist, we want to give a gentle mobilization, gentle kind of so 3 to 5 repetition. If you do means we can increase the mobility of it, increase the lateral translation movements. And this functional kinetic is one thing is simple, just make the patient in erect posture, the chin tuck should be there, they should be erect chin tuck, and then increase the extension activity and the mouth opening, then again forward flexion with mouth closing, and here the right side head one, the temporal side that will go one side, and chin that will be in the opposite side. So ulta manner, two ways you want to check. At last, hold the hand chin like this, do a relaxed gentle movements in order to increase here the translation, the CO, C1, C1, C2. This region we are increasing the mobility. So we can do this passively mobilize in this case. Is any other?
Okay. The next
Hand
question.
is not. Yeah, you can read.
What are the contraindications for a passive TMJ mobilization?
Yes. We want to, that is the main thing. We want to ask the patient the clear history. That's what I mentioned. Most of the patient they won't say about the injury at all. Suddenly I have this problem, or 3 days I have this problem. No, mostly they won't really. So we want to ask history clearly and the age factor. As if I engage, we can do. The contraindication might be clearly stick on whether they had any injury or not. That is the ultimate thing. Or some people, what happens is they used to sleep sideways often. So for that patient, we want to check whether they're having any vertigo issues or not, because everything, the neurological problem as well as this temporomandibular joint issues, it will be interlinked.
Okay.
Even
So the next question from Mano Prasanna Kumar: is there any correlation between TMJ dysfunction and fatigue? Hello.
Yes. What question from Manova?
Is there any correlation between TMJ dysfunction and fatigue?
Fatigue, yes, of course.
Read it again.
Manova Prasanna Kumar from SRM, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Mano, I think you are seeing most sports people. So what happened means fatigue have a very good impact over the temporomandibular joint. Ultimately, I said in an initial stage, during a quarantine phase or the occupation basis, they use a muscle frequently that will have a fatigue. So that's what I said, there will be imbalance between the neck muscles as well as the temporomandibular joint surrounding structures that have a very good impact.
The next question is, how to treat TMJ stiffness in rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes, we want to initially we want to loosen the structures, so we provide some kind of thermal effect. In a in case of rheumatoid arthritis, we used thermal effect, and likewise some kind of hot pack we want to provide over that particular joint side as well as the other side also. Then increase some kind of active exercises. Say them to just yawn kind of things, and some kind of what to say, that the mirror therapy, place a mirror in front of them and they want to self-analyze their active movements, how much the possible thing is there. And as far as we used to see about the same way, they can pronounce the vowels some kind of louder manner. So at that point, so the widening of a mouth will be there. So mostly for rheumatoid arthritis patient, we can teach the active post isometric exercise I have said right, that is most advisable.
Next question is
Next,
from Vipassana. Is it possible if the three finger test is not positive, but the cardinal signs are present? Will that person have TMJ dysfunction?
might be might be because we want to check the cervical posture for them for sure, cervical region, because some people they're having a problem over there that have we used to say that it's a patient they're having a trigger point that will have a referred pattern, right? Same way we want to analyze the thing also, might be.
Fine. The next is from Anjali Gupta.
Okay.
If in adult age patient is suffering from recurrent TMJ dislocation with muscular spasm of pterygoid and temporalis, what can be done?
Adult age patient is suffering from a recurrent temporal mandibular dislocation. So
Dislocation.
if at adult age temporal dislocation means we can't give it that much strengthening also for that kind of patient. So might be the dentists have a very good role in this,
Okay.
because
Next,
continuous dislocation means we can't fix immediately. That to aged people.
fine, sir. Next is from Snehil Kurana. Please explain TMJ relationship with neck pain. TMJ relationship with neck pain.
Yes. Okay. What happened is the once the posture that changes. So if a patient is sitting and they are having a stooped posture, the chin is forward, and what will happen means that there will be a continuous tension over the posterior neck muscle, that is the suboccipital muscles, that will have a biotunnel, the facial link from the splenius muscles, splenius capitis, then it comes over the all of the subscleneus elliptic muscles. Okay, so what happens is that will create some kind of abnormal tensions. So that will make that gonal angle to get increased. Once it keep on increasing, there will be a problem over the articular disc. So once the articular disc problem is there, they can't open. So either it is initially there will be inflammatory process, later that will be a ankylosing, that is either a fibrosis one or a bony component.
Fine, sir. Next is from Akansha. Can braces reduce range of motion in TMJ?
See, that is what the 50-50 wise. What happened is that was the cases what I have seen even yesterday. One patient, because of the braces, the TMJ it gets reduced, the joint reduced, because the wisdom teeth they have removed, and again they are advised one more teeth should be removed in another 10 days. That a particular candidate have a brace and she can't open her mouth at all. Of course, the initial stage there will be a reduction will be there, but once the bleeding arrests and some kind of gum problem solved, then only our rule is there. Till that actively the patient should participate with exercises.
Fine, sir. Next is from Harita ma'am. What are the contraindications for a passive TMJ mobilization?
So contraindication is first one is a gender age wise we want to check. Ultimately the elderly population they should not do, and we want to check the X-ray whether the most sclerotic changes is there or not, and the history of course, whether the people they are having they ate too much, they bite the harder structures. Okay, so because of that, some kind of problem. So without the radiological thing, kindly don't touch the temporomandibular joint.
Fine. The next one is from KJ. One of my patients was doing neck extension and suddenly her left masseter muscle went into spasm. How is it possible, sir?
So one of the patient was doing neck extension and suddenly yes, what happened is might be there is a weakness we can say. So why means the already have mentioned that the internal dearrangement. So once the everything, if a TFJ problem is the most pillar is the cervical spine as per the lateral pterygoid. Might be the lateral pterygoid muscle weakness or weakness that will take over by the masseter muscle. So sudden might be there. So we want to clearly analyze. We want to ask a history of the patient. That is the previously whether the patient had this same kind of incidents and all we want to check.
Fine. The next one is from Preetham. Sir, in older age, what are all the changes with PMJ and how does this affect our teeth loss?
Yes, what happened means in the older age, first there will be gum issues. Okay, first the gum will go for inflame. Once the gum will get inflamed, means the teeth, what happens is that will start to erode. So in the center, it will get erode as well as the root cannot be used to say that will get dislodged. So what happens is ultimately it's like a loosening the harder food. So that will come out. And some people what again what means once age advances, the normal changes, physiological changes will occur. That normal physiological changes, if they are not doing a proper activities in order to maintain the flexibility or properties of a muscle, ultimately that will end up. Because the avulsion pattern also is there, right?
Okay, so next one is from Subhashini. How can we treat patient with mouth cancer who has undergone tooth extraction and has TMJ dysfunction?
So mouth ulcer is ultimately I say
Mouth
for most
cancer.
of cancer, most of the if a normal general ulcer also, it have an impact over the gums. Okay, if they're having a mouth cancer means ultimately that will start to erode the root structures, the tooth as well as all the soft tissue alignment. So once the tumor cells, what it will happen means that will give a some kind of negative forces to the muscles to get inactive. So for that kind of patients, gentle or simple kind of mobilization we can do as intraorally I said, right. So like that a slow kind of oscillatory movement we can provide, or ultimately one technique is there. We want to make the patient to sit and head it should touches the floor. So like this a curved way they want to sit the patient, and with 2 or 3 fingers they want to place the hand over the lower teeth and distraction. What happens is once they are bending in this way and doing a distraction, the gravity does will assess for oral cancers or this kind of severe issues. If they are not having any neurological problems like vertebral basilar insufficiency and all, we can put the patients in a sitting way. The head should be downward, facing downwards. Some they want to lean downwards. We can place some 2 or 3 pillows, so the head should be rest on that. Place 2 fingers over the lower teeth region. Come some kind of distraction and breathing encourages the translation we can increase. So one patient 2 months back we have advised this kind of, that means before corona starts, we have advised this kind of exercise to one patient and it giving a very good result.
Okay, sir. We'll go with one last question. Sir.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. How can a physio help in the cause of the dysfunction in bruxism?
So first thing is counseling. We want to say the patient that maximum of the paroxysm is either because of psychological ways or because of the pain. They can't tolerate the pain. So if these two reasons we find out, then we can create a awareness to the patient. They should not do like that, or if they are having this kind of bruxism, place some kind of soft structures in between the teeth, so that will create some kind of cushioning effect, or it won't create too much of forces on the temporomandibular joint. Mostly the awareness as well as this kind of soft padding.
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I'll give over to Dr. Chandramohan, sir, for further things, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Running short of time. Okay, thank you so much for a wonderful session about TMJ dysfunction. It was virtual treat for us actually, and also thanking you for being so polite and answering the questions of our participants. And we would like to have you in another one more session with an interesting topic in our web series 2 starting from June 1. Hope you will take one more session for us.
Yes, sure.
And I thank all the participants. Especially Dr. Rajan Samuel, who is a principal in Vinayaka Mission, and a few other vice principals from different colleges. And I thank all the participants for the cooperation and having had a wonderful session with you all. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the organizers and all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.